What's going on, everybody? Let's take a look at the results of some of the community polls over the last couple weeks. I really like these. I think it's a fun way to kind of engage with everybody on various different topics, see what you all are thinking, and to watch some of the debate that plays out in the comments section. This first one, though, complete swing and a miss on my part. Talked about the best Allied general in World War One, and I missed a lot. There's only so many you can put in here, so you got to get like really specific with the question. So I already narrowed it down to Allied general. I left some out. Blackjack Pershing wasn't here. I know a lot of people wanted to see him. Personal opinion, he wasn't involved in the war nearly as long as the gentleman on this list, so I felt like it wasn't a fair comparison. But anyways, this list quickly devolved into the best mustache contest. I'm pretty sure where it landed. So Ferdinand Foch wins that 58%, but noted on World War One. Maybe we'll limit some of the World War One stuff going forward. This is a little more high level, but I think it's an interesting conversation. Could a world war that includes the United States, China, and or Russia be fought to a conclusion without nuclear weapons? 107,000 votes, 56% said no. I'm optimistic here. I actually side with the 34%. My view on nuclear weapons is that it's not the first one that we have to be worried about. It's what comes after that. So as horrible as one nuclear attack would be, for those of us not in the immediate impact area, we would continue living. The world would go on. But if that initial strike is followed by, a retaliatory strike and whatever might be after that, that's where you get into the world-ending scenarios. The optimist in me has 2 points of view here. One, I think, let's say the United States were attacked with a nuclear weapon. I think our conventional capabilities are such that we could lower the temperature, so to speak, by retaliating in a conventional manner to knock out nuclear capabilities. I don't think that if the United States took a nuclear attack right now, that the automatic response would be a retaliatory nuclear strike because of the potential escalation. The other optimist point of view here from me is that the longer we go without using these weapons, so now it's been almost 80 years, the longer we go without using them, the more taboo they become. And even the mere discussion of using them is getting to the point of making a nation a pariah state. So I think the only situation it would be used is in the true life or death of a nation. And historically, we haven't seen very many countries choose to be burned to the ground instead of coming to some sort of resolution, even if it's very against their initial terms, right? Any major war in history, at some point, there tends to be some sort of resolution that doesn't mean that everybody has to die. So I'm banking on that. That at least lets me sleep at night. I think this is an interesting one. Not as many votes, 40,000 votes, but which would you most like to see the focus of a new movie with modern special effects? So I know there's been movies on at least some of these subjects. I kind of limited it down because I wanted to make sure there was an option for other here, but Mac v. SOG, those kind of the special operations guys in Vietnam, and that's super wide-ranging. They did so much stuff. I was 100% convinced that was going to be the winning answer here, but it wasn't. Verdun, which is it sounds imposing, right? I just finished All Quiet on the Western Front, the Netflix version. Holy cow, highly recommend that to anybody. It's not the kind of movie you watch to get pumped up and go join the military. It's the kind of movie that makes you want to put it into war. And you realize just how awful we can be to other people in those situations. But Verdun, to me, All Quiet on the Western Front, hit on some of the things that I would vote for Verdun. As great as those other movies could be, just because of the scale of that battle, I think is a little bit lost on most of us today, myself included, for a long time. I haven't been able to visit very many World War I sites, but Verdun is one that we got to go check out. We were in Europe a few years ago. This is the Douaumont Ossuary, which I feel like I mispronounce every time. But anyways, big memorial there at Verdun, and it's staggering. So some stats on the Battle of Verdun to give you an idea of just how gruesome that battle was. There were an estimated 60,000, between 40 and 60,000 artillery shells fired at Verdun. It was a 10-month battle, mostly fought between France and Germany. At 60,000 rounds fired, or 60 million rounds fired, when you break that down day by day, month by month, it ends up being around, and somebody check my math here because I'm not good at this, ends up being around 140 artillery rounds fired every minute for that 10-month stretch of the battle. That's insane. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine living through that? And a lot of people didn't, is the unfortunate reality. This was a meat grinder on both sides. In terms of casualties, one of the things that is kind of takes your breath away at Verdun today is underneath the Douaumont ossuary is there's windows you can look down in, and there's bones stacked floor to ceiling of an estimated 130,000 unknown dead. Just all the way across. Peeking windows, bones stacked floor to ceiling. It's crazy. But at this battle, this 10-month battle, an estimated 300,000 people died. That is about the same as what the United States lost during all of World War II, 4 years, in every theater. 300,000 in 10 months, 30,000 a month dying between the two sides. It's a staggering level of loss. I would love to see something on Verdun just to try to, kind of like All Quiet on the Western Front did, to kind of capture just how horrific life was for these men in the trenches, trying to live through hundreds of rounds per minute for days on end. It's insane. The last one here about T-14 used in Russia. This one surprised me. 70,000 votes on will we see the Russian T-14 tanks used in Ukraine. Pretty split. 42% yes, 41% no. I'm pretty strongly in the camp of no. So this is Russia's new next generation main battle tank. It's supposed to be pretty fancy, but we just don't know a whole lot about it yet because it continually gets delayed in production. So it's unclear how many exist today, how many fully operational exist today. In 2021, so about a year ago, it was announced that 100 T-14s would be put into kind of test units, if you will. They'd be fielded, but they'd be kind of watching what happened with them in case they needed to make adjustments. That doesn't appear to have happened. They've not been spotted in Ukraine, just to clear that up. And the most recent stat I saw on this was maybe 40 will be delivered after 2023. So this is not a tank that Russia has sitting in storage. It doesn't appear that they're on the brink of churning these out in any significant number. And Russia does have a lot of T-72s, T-80s, and older tanks, parts or components or chassis available to kind of build up their depleted tank corps at this point. So I'd be surprised if we see T-14s on the battlefield, I'll say in the next year. I'd be surprised to see T-14s in Ukraine anytime before the start of 2024. But again, it's a pretty secretive program, all things considered. So who knows? Maybe Russia's well ahead of the curve. But that's the last I got for the polls over the last couple of weeks. Again, these are really fun. I have a lot of fun coming up with these questions and seeing how they shake out. So if you've got any ideas for polls, throw them in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my viewpoints here. But that'll do it for now. We'll see y'all next time.